is the North End. This is the North End.
Hey guys, it's JP California for the North End. I am back. I want to give a big thank you to Luke the Duke for filling in. I can't do what he does when it comes to those sweet match day videos. That guy travels more than Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk asks him to use Luke's plane. So thank you, Luke. Maybe next year, next season, you and I could team up, meet up in England, have a trip. We could do a vlog about it, go to a few games, and make it something special. I need to get back out to Villa Park, Luke, and I think you're my guy to go with because we got a lot of the same interests, even if we argue about everything. But let's talk about it another time. There you guys go, a live little drop of the funsies, and maybe we can make me and Luke get it together. Fly me from California all the way back to Birmingham, England. Sorry, my notes are going everywhere. To go and see the Villa again. Guys, if you guys like this channel, please like and subscribe. Give me a comment. Tell me I'm trash. Tell me I'm so unprofessional for fixing my notes, because there's this beautiful slight breeze and a sunny 70 degrees Southern California. It is the best time of the year. If you guys get a chance, come on down to sunny Southern California. It's great right now. I'm literally in awe about how nice it is. Just went for a run, so I'm like hot and sweaty. It's like 8 a.m. It's great. But let's get started, because Villa tied Brentford at Brentford. They had only lost 2 games at home, so for Villa it was a good draw, a 1-1 on a very off day. Let's get after it. Here's 5 things we learned about Aston Villa versus Brentford yesterday, Saturday, April whatever. I think it's like the 22nd. Number one, off day. It wasn't Villa's best performance. To follow up against what we saw last week against Newcastle, arguably their best performance of the season, with this performance against Brentford, and to try and follow up against Newcastle was always going to be difficult. So for them, it's always going to look like an off game. But I thought it was an especially off game for Aston Villa. I don't know if their legs are finally getting wear thin because the squad's so thin or what, but they struggled to cope with Brentford, who I felt were also decently good. So I hate it when teams say, oh, this team was really bad. Like everyone's saying, oh, Newcastle was so bad last week, and how about Villa were so good? I thought Brentford was very good. I didn't think they were at their top, but I felt Villa were well below their standard in what we've seen for the last few weeks. And so for Villa, it was a great draw to go in and get that done. Unai Emery was fuming. If you watch the game, he was just raging on the touchline before halftime. So I think coming out of the game with a 1-1 draw was probably the right result. Villa were definitely second best probably most of the game. And I think most rational Villa fan would understand and agree with me on that. So number 1 was an off day, bad day out at the office. Number 2, tryout. Robert Olsen is the backup keeper for Aston Villa, and he's been the backup keeper for 2 seasons now. And he just isn't good enough. He's not good enough. He's had games where he's played the whole game. He's had games where he had to come in and jump into the game halfway through the game. And as a backup goalkeeper for a team that wants to get into Europe, he's not good enough. I know it's going to be a hard standard going against Emi Martinez, who is the world's best goalkeeper. Brian, make no mistake about it, he is the world's best goalkeeper. It's always going to be hard, but Robert Olsen just isn't at Prem level. There's a reason why he's been number 2 for his past 5 years, and he's only 31 or 32 years old. He's just not good enough. He's not confident. He's a guy where he makes one mistake and it clouds him like a black plague on him, and it really does kind of ruin his game plan or his momentum that he has going on. And we saw it in the game where he fumbled a pretty easy collection off to his right side. He fumbled it, and their guy literally couldn't put away an open net goal. He got 5th hold for their goal, and I don't blame him for the goal. But I think there were aspects about that goal that I think he could have done better. I just don't think he commands the defense well. I don't think the defense has faith in him. I don't think he really has faith in himself. And there's very few times I've literally thought this season, man, Aston Villa need Jed Steer, our third string backup goalkeeper who's injured. And you know what? It's just one of those things where it's not working out. His tryout did not go well. I think this summer, if Aston Villa want to progress, they need to move him on and go in for a better backup goalkeeper. And that's not, I'm not hating on him. I bet he's probably a really nice person and an individual. He's just not up to what Aston Villa needs to be progressing to. And he was a friend of our sporting director who knew him from other times at Copenhagen and elsewhere. And so he brought in a player he knew for a very cheap sum, and it's just not worked out. Oh well, move on. You know, the trial's over. It is what it is. I'm not mad. I kind of knew what Robert Olsen was, and I think most Villa fans at this point knew what Robert Olsen was. So it is what it is. Number 3, left side, strong side. If there's anything we have now realized, it is that the left back for Aston Villa is going to be an attacking left back, a left wing back, whether it be Alex Moreno or Luca Dean, who we'll get to on point 4. But what we've noticed is whether it's Ashley Young or Matty Cash, they don't bomb forward on the right like they used to. Even under Dean Smith, we weren't really bombing forward, but we would get forward on the right side. It's very much a left side forward, right side tucks in type play. And I think this is really going to be descriptive and depictive in what we look for this summer. It is well touted by The Athletic that Aston Villa will be looking for a striker, obviously, but also a right back to come in. I just don't know. Ashley Young's great. Matty Cash is really good, and I see Matty Cash as one of the long-term right backs at Aston Villa. But I think they are going to look for another right back because Ashley Young is no longer young. And I do think they need to look for someone in the mold that Emery wants. And so they're going to be looking for someone like a Kyle Walker, who I don't think is a bad shout. You know, Kyle Walker is a very capable right back who is incredibly fast and good with the ball at his feet and likes to get up the pitch. But better yet, in the last few windows, in the last few seasons for Man City, he's a right back that can also double as like an outside center back. And I think this really appeals to Emery. And I don't know any inside information. And obviously, I personally am not a guy who likes to go for old players. You know, I don't want another Julian Lescott. But Kyle Walker still has legs in him. He's still, I want to say relatively young, but he's relatively young for a defender. He's smart. He's Ashley Young 3 years ago, which to me is like perfect. We can get him for a relatively cheaper sum in the summer probably. Hopefully we can get his wages down. But to me, that's a great acquisition. A guy like that who can play a center back if need be, but is also good enough to play or should be playing outside right, but tucks in as a center back, is very smart, very fast, can catch up with counterattack teams. I think Kyle Walker would be a shout out, but I get off topic here. Left side, strong side, Alex Moreno, Luca Dean, power down the left side. I want to keep them both, which brings me into point number 4, which is Luca Dean. Luca Dean has been really cast out by Villa fans as the guy who's going to go this summer, and I don't see it yet. I think this game showed us that Luca Dean has some fight and some grit in him. When we had Matt Target, who we brought in Luca Dean, and he's like, I'm out, peace. I think Luca Dean showed today, or last game, that he wants to stay. He had energy, and he was a creative force behind our goal. And for me, having two very well standard premier players in Alex Moreno and Luca Dean gives us options to switch it up. If you have a team that has a high line, that could be a game for Luca Dean, who can whip in balls behind, who has a very great and dedicated cross. When you got teams that hunker in, you might need the dribbling ability of Alex Moreno, who can get through one or two guys and create an opening on the backside that's not that much space, as we've seen before this season. And so for me, I would tell Villa fans to wait it out, see what Luca Dean can give us, because I think Luca Dean still has 15, 20 appearances a season. He could come in and do a job for us, and he's not a drop-off. You know, he's a high-level player. Yes, we're paying him a lot, and maybe we could get somebody in cheaper, but I think he still has some value to us that we could utilize. Maybe I'm wrong in this, but I like him as what he did for this game, and I like his professionalism. He is a French international, and while he's not getting into the French team as of late, he could still be a very, very valuable player to us. Number 5, records. Aston Villa going after records right now. We are one of the most informed team. We have in the last 9 games, 7 wins and 2 ties. That is an astronomical amount of points. What is that? Out of 28 points, we've gotten like 22. That's insane. That's crazy. I think it's actually 24 points as I do the math in my head real quick. It's crazy. So that's great for Aston Villa. That's what Aston Villa need. Unai Emery is showing that he might be in contention for coach of the season. If Arsenal don't win the title, I would think Unai Emery would be coach of the season for what he's done, taking a team from 16th to 6th in 5 months, 4 months. That's unheard of. That's incredible. That's the turnaround of a century. We've also scored in all 19 games in Unai Emery's tenure. That is the longest new coach scoring record. I know that's like the stupidest of stats, but it's something Villa fans want to see. And any other coach, I know Brian with Tottenham, he would want a new coach to come in and score 19 straight games. Why not? You know, I know Chelsea can't even score 19 shots on target so far. So I'm stoked. You know, I think Unai Emery is going to have a great time, and I can't wait for these records to continue to get broken in such valuable games. Yeah, there was one crazy stat where it was something along the lines of we've gotten 8 points in 7 games in London, where we had 7 points from 11 games. So that's huge for us. And it's a little star number 6 if you want on the 5 things we learned about Aston Villa, and that is terrible commentary. I don't know if you guys were watching the stream I was watching, but some commentator kept talking, back in my day, we put in a cross from 40 yards out early. Goodness gracious, go commentate the over 50s. You has been. This is not 1985. You need to grow up and get with the times. That guy can't be in a job long as a pundit for whatever newscasting put that in. That was atrocious. That was, and I mean, he was blasting Brentford players. He was blasting VAR. He was blasting Villa players. Goodness gracious. Take a salt tablet and go sit down, old timer. He needs to hang up his boots. I don't rage on ageism, but that guy, wow, was he wrong. All Brentford need to do is put in an early cross. He must have said that 40 times in that game. It was incredible. That commentating was the worst commentating I've ever heard in a Premier League game. And I don't call for guys to get fired. That guy needs to get fired. That guy cannot be doing that. That was incredible. So, guys, I am JP California. I want to say thank you to Luke the Duke for filling in for me the last few games, getting after and giving us our At the Game commentary. We love it here at the North End. If you guys like the channel, please like and subscribe. Get out on these beautiful days, no matter where you are. If you're in the rain, get outside. If you're in snow, get outside. If you're Brian and you're just hiding because Tottenham just got thrashed, goodness gracious, it was like Mike Tyson fighting an infant. Get outside. Get happy. Guys, have a great day.
This is the North End. This is the North